Welcome, we're back reacting to some more of the amazing Kurzgesagt. They have a new release, and it's the business behind Kurzgesagt. Let's check it out and see what motivates them.
In 2023, Kurzgesagt has existed for 10 years.
Wow.
Insanely long in internet years.
10 years
We're among
already.
the largest sciencey channels on YouTube and still a bit of a black box to people. So let's talk about ourselves a bit in 3 parts. Our backstory, how we finance our work, and the values of Kurzgesagt. Let's jump back to a more...
I have to say, before they even say anything about this, I really appreciate the transparency here. They're going to tell us how they're funded, which is a big thing, because a lot of times information is skewed based on who's funding the study or funding the research, funding the information being published. So that's a huge one in and of itself for them to be transparent and clear on that.
innocent time. From humble beginnings to today. Kurzgesagt's foundation was laid when Philip, our founder, dropped out of high school as a teenager. Learning seemed daft and useless, and he wasn't interested in anything.
Of course.
Until a very special teacher at a school for dropouts grabbed him by the neck. The way she taught was different. She talked about connections and the big picture. She told a story. For the first time ever, Philip wanted to learn more without being forced.
That's actually a really wonderful point, and I'm glad that they brought that up. The correct teacher can make the world of difference in someone's life. Now, when we think of school, especially high school, as you grow and age out of it and high school becomes a more and more distant memory, it's easy to just think of that as, you know, a quick little section of your life, a section of your childhood. But the part that you can't put value to is that part of your childhood and being on the border of going into adulthood, you learn and acquire so many life skills during that time period. You set who you will be for the rest of your life. Now, it's not impossible to change that, of course. You can change that after high school, without a doubt. But a lot of your habits, a lot of your morals, a lot of your principles, I believe, are set and strongly influenced by your school years, especially in high school, because you are on that border between a child and an adult. And turning into an adult is hard. Let's be honest. It's really hard. It's one day sheltered and protected. The next day, hello world, I'm vulnerable and I have no idea what I'm doing, because school, at least here in America, did not prepare me for this at all. Glad I know the Pythagorean theorem, but yeah, how do you do taxes? And I guess the point of that rant is that having the right teacher to motivate you and to actually care about you as a person and take that extra time, especially if you are one of the students who's struggling, can make the absolute world of difference. I know I had one. I had more than one. I was really lucky. But a lot of students don't get that. A lot of kids go into the real world without ever having that extra love and attention and care during that crucial time. And it's really sad.
It was a key life experience. Kurzgesagt tries to recreate this experience for you. Nothing is boring if you tell a good story, and we try to tell these stories to spark excitement and make you want to go on and learn more. Because of the one teacher that could do this, Philip got a high school degree, studied history and design, and eventually started Kurzgesagt as a passion project inspired by Crash Course World History. In 2012, YouTube was less commercial and more idealistic. You could...
Should we react to some of those Crash Course videos, World History? I've been getting a little more into history lately on the channel. I've done a few videos, some of them done well, and some of them not so well. But I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in. I know I would certainly enjoy it. So if you have thoughts on that topic, leave them in the comments below.
Make a living with videos as involved as ours, and that was fine. The goal was creative freedom, and so for the first few years, it actually cost money to make Kurzgesagt. We had no outside funding, just intrinsic motivation and a few friends from university. We worked for clients during the day and on Kurzgesagt at night, 80 to 100 hours a week.
Wow.
It was a real struggle, but also very rewarding. But then Patreon launched, sponsorship started, our views increased, YouTube changed. In 2015, the channel began to break even and then to earn a profit. But we were pretty burned out at this point, so we decided to bring in more friends and hire the first team members full-time, creating a legal entity.
That's one of the things about the YouTube journey that a lot of people don't talk about, is so many people get into it because it's something that they're passionate about and they have something to say. They're trying to share something with somebody, and that somebody may be an individual or it may be an audience of people. But people get into it, generally speaking, if they're successful at all, at least generally speaking, because they're passionate about it. And at some point, that passion, if you're one of the lucky ones, turns into an actual source of revenue that could become your livelihood. And that transition from passion project to business, that's a really tough one to do. That's a hard transition, because now stuff that you did for fun, now you have to worry about your return on your investment. How much money are you spending to make the video? How much money do you actually expect to get back? You have a video that you really want to make, but you can't because you know it won't perform well and you know that you'll lose money on it. And this is now your job. Me, I'm lucky because I'm not at that point, and I don't know if I ever will be, where I'll be making money off of this. So I can just kind of react to what I want to. And if the video does poorly, I mean, so what, you know? I'm having fun doing it, and that's the main point. But it becomes a totally different beast once it's a business and once it's your livelihood. Now, performance of those videos matters a lot. I haven't personally gone through that, but I'll bet that that's extremely difficult to get through that phase.
More people meant that we could stop overworking, do more, and improve. But we also needed to earn more. The livelihood of real humans depended upon it.
Yeah.
None of us had any experience in running a company. We didn't plan to become big or to grow. It sort of just happened.
And just because you're a good content maker, just because you can make good videos and keep people engaged and, you know, drive success that way, doesn't mean that you're going to be good at running a business. There's a lot that goes into that. There's rules, there's regulations, there's taxes, there's payroll, there's human resources, there's potential lawsuits and liability. There's a lot of things that are completely outside of the realm of everything you've been used to up to that point. And just because you're good at making videos does not mean that you're going to be good at running a business. And sometimes if you get big enough, it might be hard, but you got to realize that. And you may have to hand that off to that portion of it off to someone else.
A decade later, Kurzgesagt is not a small project anymore. We are an animation studio with offices in Munich and Berlin. We need computers, monitors, tablets, desks, coffee, contracts, licenses, taxes, rent, and insurance. In 2023, our team consists of over 60 employees and a lot of freelancers around the world.
Oh, that cup is dirty.
Salaries alone cost millions of dollars a year
60 employees?
just to stay around.
Did they say 60 employees? We gotta listen to that again.
Monitors, tablets, desks, coffee, contracts, pay licenses, taxes, rent, and insurance. In 2023, our team consists of over 60 employees and a lot of freelancers around the world. Salaries alone cost millions of dollars a year just to stay around. This creates an interesting problem. With such high production costs, how can we publish our work for free? How we finance Kurzgesagt. We've added up our earnings from 2015 through 2022. Our sources of funding change depending on opportunities and the state of the world. Early on, agency work was our main source of income. Ad revenue varies. In some years, we got more sponsorships than in others. The shop didn't exist for a long time, then it became pretty big after we launched our calendar.
I'm assuming that YouTube revenues only accounts for a small portion of what they actually make, because YouTube's so hit and miss these days and the rules keep changing and the payouts aren't that much. I mean, you're looking at, you know, somewhere between $1 to $5 US dollars per 1,000 views. And it's probably going to be on the lower end of that. So that's crazy. That's not that much money. Now, Kurzgesagt also does consistently release viral videos that routinely get millions of views, so they will be getting a little bit more from that. My bet would be that they make the hefty majority of their money through Patreon and sponsorships. The store might be even after the actual YouTube earnings. That would be my guess.
62% of our revenue comes indirectly or directly from you. You watch our videos with ads, support us on Patreon, or buy from our shop. The single biggest source of income by far is our shop.
Really?
That alone accounted for 40% over the last 8 years. The shop started small, but once we published our calendar for the first time in 2016, we realized it could really help us do more things, and we started producing more and more science products, from our posters to our gratitude journal or universe-scented candles.
I didn't even think of this before, but I should get 1 or 2 of their posters to hang up in here as a good background. That is extremely appropriate for this channel and for these recordings. Even if, you know, one day we get through all the Kurzgesagt videos and they just become a reaction when they're new releases and our focus shifts somewhere else, if that happens one day, you know, this is our starting. This is how the channel started. This is how we met each other, is through these Kurzgesagt videos. A big portion of you anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna get a poster or 2 and hang it up, and I think I'll redo in here a little bit so that way we can see a poster on the wall. That would be awesome.
YouTube ads accounted for 13% and Patreon 9%. So without your support, we would cease to exist.
Okay, that's actually a little surprising because I figured the shop would be quite poorly performing, and it turns out their shop is 40% of their revenue. Patreon underperforms YouTube, which is also a surprise to me. I figured it would have been both above the shop and YouTube.
Our shop and Patreon are our most important sources of revenue, and because we see ourselves as science communicators, we don't just do merch, but sciencey products that we spend hundreds of hours researching, discussing with experts, polishing up and working on directly with the manufacturers. They are part of the science story we try to tell. It also just feels good to get directly funded by you guys and give you something back for it on top of our videos. YouTube.
Plus, we get sweet merch out of it. It's a win for us, too. So the last bit must be sponsorships, which is what, you know, it makes sense that that would be their main source of income.
YouTube ads are a crucial part of our funding as well, but they are not within our control. Then there's paid agency work, which we stopped doing in 2022. It accounted for 9% of our revenue over the last 8 years. A lot in the beginning, not much by the end. Then there are commercial sponsors advertising products. They accounted for 12% of our revenue. We also got about 7% from German public broadcasting for the German channel, but ended this partnership in 2022. Finally, there are institutional sponsors representing about 10%. Some people take issue with this, especially Bill Gates has come under public scrutiny, and we've been criticized for even working with organizations funded by him. So let's look at this 10% in more detail.
Yes, please.
About 3% of our revenue over the last 8 years came from the Gates organizations for a wide variety of topics, often suggested by us.
Now, the Bill Gates scandal and Melinda over there, their whole divorce, and of course there's a lot of, what's the right word that I'm looking for here? There's a lot of suspicion between online communities that Bill Gates might be a little bit more involved in certain things than he almost certainly is. I can't say I buy into a lot of that stuff, but, you know, that's me. A lot of that, I believe, we can disregard as long as we know, and Kurzgesagt can say definitively, that they were not influenced on the video's content by them. Now, I guess that's not 100% of a clear, because, you know, one thing that you have to take into account is even if they're not directly influencing the content of a video, there's always the idea of if we're not pleased by it, we won't continue this partnership and we won't fund more videos for you. You know, we won't provide additional funding if we're not happy with the content of these videos. And being happy with the content of the videos can mean quite a number of things, right? I mean, you know, so be it. I don't think that I value the videos that are funded in this method by Kurzgesagt any less than I do the ones that they independently fund from us, personally.
5% comes from open philanthropy and is only used for specific projects. With these funds, we've started Arabic, Hindi, Korean, Japanese, Portuguese and French channels, bringing more free science content to more people.
They're really growing.
Then there's a 2-year funding for original TikTok content, which gives us freedom to explore and learn how to do short-form science communication. The final 2% came from other organizations like the Red Cross or the UN, for example. We choose institutional sponsors carefully, but if organizations want to fund videos that help us spread quality information about relevant topics, this is an easy yes for us, if we have the capacity for it. On top of that, the institutional sponsors we're working with align with our values.
I would 100% agree with that. As long as you're getting the funding to make the video, as long as Kurzgesagt is retaining creative decision-making power in those videos, cool. Let whoever fund it. I don't care if it's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I don't care if it's John Cena. I don't know why I pulled that name, but whatever. I don't care who it is, as long as Kurzgesagt is retaining creative control. And if Kurzgesagt has the courage to stand up and actually make that a requirement for their videos and stand by that. And from that viewpoint, if they don't like the videos, whoever the funder is, and they don't fund again, oh well, thank you for funding this one, but if you're going to want to control our content, we don't want to do business with you anyway, so go ahead and take your money and run.
We have contracts with every grant giver or sponsor that bars them from editorial influence other than suggesting topic areas like global health or climate change.
Perfect.
We agree on video topics together, but sponsors can neither influence details nor our conclusions. The final decision always remains with us. And usually we develop the topics of the videos autonomously and tell the sponsor what we're doing afterwards. If you're interested in how we research our videos in detail, our head of research wrote an article about it. Running an educational YouTube channel is a balancing act that we take very seriously. We're doing our best to maintain this balance, adjusting whenever necessary. As a team and a company, we want to grow to give more people access to a science-based outlook on the world. This brings us to our final topic. Why are we doing Kurzgesagt?
They seem to take their responsibility very seriously, Kurzgesagt does. And my absolute favorite thing that they do, they haven't always done this, but they've started and they've stuck with it, is dropping their sources in the description. If you question where they're getting their information, you can look it up. You can go find it. You can go read for yourself. If you're feeling super explorative, you can use that as a starting point and then grow and expand some research based off of that. But they put their sources in the description of their videos. There's not many science channels that do that. There's not many education channels that do that. So I highly respect that. And I think that that should become a lot more common practice on YouTube for educational videos. It builds that credibility. It lets you trust them a little bit. I haven't gone and read almost any of them. There's been a couple, but I haven't done it. But knowing it's there and knowing that people smarter than me can go and do that gives me a lot more comfort.
Our values and our vision. Our core mission is to spark curiosity. We want to make science and humanism accessible for as many people as possible. The effort we put into creating our videos is a way of achieving that. Our videos are beautiful because that helps to spark curiosity, to understand complex topics, and because it just feels good to create and watch.
Yep, they're very good at that.
As intensive as it is, so our videos are a good simplification of very complicated topics. We want to make people excited about science so they rediscover subjects they hated in school and see how amazing they are.
They 100% accomplished that goal, at least with me personally. I hated a lot of these things in school, and now as a growing adult in my 30s, I love it. Now watching these really grabs my attention. It's like, man, I wish this was around when I was in school, because this would have been a game changer, honestly. That's the other thing, though, that I have to applaud Kurzgesagt. I know this video is getting long. I'm sorry about that. But one thing Kurzgesagt does extremely well, and I've said this before in other videos, is they are very good at taking a super complex topic and simplifying it down. They may tell a white lie or two. They may oversimplify to the point where some experts might not like it. But they make the content accessible to the average viewer. So almost anyone can pick up one of these videos and watch it and gain something out of it and come away with something. It's not meant to replace a college degree. It's not meant to replace full-blown research into a topic. That's not their intention. Their intention is to spark your interest and get you interested in a topic so that way you may go and learn more. And I think that they are absolutely wonderful at that. They keep their videos entertaining, they keep them engaging, and they keep it simple. Very good at that.
On top of curiosity, we want to inspire long-term thinking and a positive, constructive outlook. Being optimistic about the future of humanity is not mainstream, and we think this is horrible. Pessimism often sounds smart and gets more views, while optimism can sound naive. But this is a bias that's not helpful for us as a species.
True.
So, despite the gloominess of many topics, we want to approach them with informed and well-researched optimism. Not brushing humanity's very real challenges aside, but also not falling into the trap of pessimism. We want to inspire you to dream a little about the glorious future that we could actually build, but only if we believe it's possible. In the long run, we don't only want to do this on YouTube. The idea is for Kurzgesagt to be a positive influence across more media. On our TikTok channel, in the long-form content we're exploring, in apps, in the VR game that will be released later this year, and the game.
A VR game? Yes! I've said numerous times that they should make a game, and I am so excited to hear that. Definitely going to have to play that one.
Games we plan to make in the future.
Oh, I'm excited.
Is a central part of this vision. We start our stories with a video and end them with a poster. There are so many things we want to do. And thanks to you watching this right now, we have the freedom to work to the best of our knowledge and ability. In the end, we hope you like what we offer and that we'll be doing something worthwhile for as long as we exist.
I do like it.
Hopefully, we'll have a lasting impact by making science and learning more fun for as many people as possible. If you personally want to help us do this, you can watch and share our videos, check out our shop, become a Patreon, or give us an ad blocker exception. We exist because of you, and you have no idea how much we appreciate that you're here. And hopefully, we're less of a black box now. In any case, doing Kurzgesagt for a decade has been a pretty crazy ride. And so, from the whole team, thank you so much for being with us all these years.
Wow. I have to say, I have a huge amount of respect for the folks over at Kurzgesagt. I really do. Huge amount of respect. Kudos to you guys. It seems like you as an organization really do care about the mission that you claim that you care about. And it shows. It shows in every one of your videos. It shows in your merch. It shows in your transparency. And it shows in your documentation that you share. So, thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the transparency more than anything, honestly. So, if you can, please support these guys. They certainly deserve it. And I'm going to pick up a couple posters or something and integrate them into this, because this background's starting to get a little boring. I'll have this as part of the background, but I want the posters and some other things in here too. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have yourself a wonderful day.